Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 162. He must rise. Why? So that you can rise. We're following a sequential scenes, or as sequential as we can figure out, what happened at Jesus' resurrection. As you may remember, first there's guards and there's an earthquake and an angel comes and they're terrified. The stone gets rolled away. That's scene one. Scene two is the guards flee from that. Scene three, that a group of women approach very early in the morning and they see the stone rolled away. Mary Magdalene takes off to go tell the disciples, but the group of women, three named women and a group of other women, Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, Joanna, Salome, and other women, they meet up with the angel. The angel says, "Don't be alarmed. You seek Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified," and then gives them the greatest news of all time. Here it is to a group of women. He has risen. He's not here. So remember the first in-flight license plate from North Carolina here, women first in resurrection. So absent this pearl, absent this treasure of Jesus, there are no other treasures of Jesus. So these women are charged with the greatest of news. And this is from Matthew 28. It says, verse 6, "He's not here. He is risen, as he said. Come, see the place where he lay." So first of all, there's an invitation in. Then verse 7, "Then go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead. And behold, he is going before you to Galilee," 60 miles away, "and there you will see him. See, I have told you." Verse 8, they departed quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy and ran to tell his disciples. So that's trembling and astonishment. So that's scene number 6. These women are charged with the greatest news in history. They run, appropriately so, and they have fear and joy, kind of both things. They tremble and are astonished. But the big news, obviously, is he has risen. And then go to Galilee, which I think is hilarious because they're not in Galilee. They're in Jerusalem. And he tells the disciples to go, 60 miles as the crow flies and 80 miles walking all the way back up to Galilee, to your real hometown. All right. So scene number 7 is from John chapter 20. And that's where Peter and John run to the tomb after they hear from Mary Magdalene. So Mary Magdalene has taken off. This is from John 20. She came to the tomb early. She saw that the stone was rolled away, and so she ran and went to Simon Peter and the other disciple, who is John, the one whom Jesus loved, and said to them, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we do not know where they have laid him." So Peter went out with the other disciple, and they were both going to the tomb. Both of them were running together. But the other disciple, John, outran Peter and reached the tomb first. And stooping to look in, he saw the linen cloths lying there, but he did not go in. Then Simon Peter came, following him, and went into the tomb. He saw the linen cloths lying there, and the face cloth, which had been on Jesus' head, not lying with the linen cloths, but folded up in a place by itself. Then the other disciple, who had reached the tomb first, also went in. So John goes in now as well. And he saw and believed. For as yet they did not understand the scripture. And here's the scripture, that he must rise. That he must rise. He must rise from the dead. Then the disciples went back to their homes. So we have Mary Magdalene, at least, if not the other women, meeting up with Peter and John. The three named women are in the tomb. Maybe they run with Mary Magdalene, maybe not. But they're running this direction. And then we have Peter and John running the opposite way towards the tomb. Now, they're not in understanding faith yet. Remember this. They brought spices, not resurrection party pats. They brought spices because they thought Jesus would be dead here on day number 3, which is actually basically for them just the next morning. So John gets there the morning after the next morning, So John gets there first and externally assesses the situation. Peter in his boldness goes in, but all they have heard so far, all they know so far is that there's been a theft. So all they know is loss, not gain. And then John goes in and he sees and believes. Now, how do we know this? Well, remember, this is a firsthand account of John who was there. So how do we know when John believed? Well, John tells us when he believes in the resurrection, which is after he goes into the tomb. Okay, so let's go to the big point today, which is, if this is not true, if this story is not true, then all of Christianity is lie, and we are the most pitied people. He must rise, is what it says. Well, why is that? I think of three reasons. Number one is because he said he would. Way back in Mark 8, years before, verse 8:31, he says, he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders and chief priests and the scribes and be killed, and after 3 days rise. So he must suffer, he must be rejected, he must be killed, he must rise. So there has to be this fulfillment of this. So number one, why must Jesus rise is because he said he would. It's fulfillment of Scripture. The second thing, he must rise because this puts him in absolute preeminent stature. Colossians 1:18, and he is the head of the body of the church. He's the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in everything he might be preeminent. He must rise. Why? And we must hold him in a certain way, preeminent, exalted, leading, famous, and foremost. It sounds like this identifies him as the person of our worship. So number one, is fulfillment of Scripture. Number two, so is that his stature is preeminent. And then number three, so without this day, without Easter Sunday, there would be no other days of Christianity. And if the resurrection of Easter is not true, then nothing is true in the Bible. So absent this treasure of Jesus, there are no treasures of Jesus. But if it is true, then everything is true. Jesus is who he says he is. All of Old Testament history predicates this. The rescue is complete. It tells us that he's really powerful enough to do what he said that he would do. He's the first to rise from the dead, but he's not the last. It's the critical element of Christianity. He must rise so that he can sit down positionally and authoritatively. He must rise. Why? So that we can rise. It makes the resurrection personal and real. He must rise so that you can rise. Thanks for listening.